Hello, everybody, and I would like to thank my wonderful subscribers.
Hello, everybody, and today we are going to be watching another Mr. Nightmare video. And this time, it is going to be 3 very disturbing true Coworker horror stories. As you can see, I am a man of tender years, and as you can probably guess, I don't really have a job that I would have co-workers for. At least not this kind of job. It would probably be at a fast food place of some sort. Not anything like this. So yeah, I have no idea what the doors are gonna be, except that they involve co-workers. Is it going to be a creepy one, a perverted one? Are they going to spy on each other? I don't know. Let's get right into it. Right. Oh shit! Wait, I went the wrong way. Right now, let's do this. Right here, right now. Horror. Co-workers. Get right into it. Can't wait to hear this.
Mom, Dad.
Should I be so excited for this? I feel like I shouldn't. These are probably actually pretty horrifying to the people in them.
Yeah, that's good.
But let's hear it. Okay. Oh, what is that? A printer? Nice. Story 1 by Ron Evans. Okay.
Back when I was 20, during the summer before my senior year of college, I landed an internship at a financial services firm downtown. It wasn't anything fancy, mostly data entry, spreadsheets, and sitting in front of a computer all day. But it paid decently, and it looked great on a resume. There were 7 other interns behind me, and we were all crammed together in this open office section with rows of cubicles that didn't quite give you privacy, just enough to make small talk feel optional.
Yeah.
Out of the 7, 5 of them were people I liked, a mix of chill, down-to-earth college students who didn't take the internship too seriously.
Okay.
Another guy, Eric, was the type who treated the whole thing like it was life or death.
Damn.
Barely spoke and was always typing like his keyboard owed him money. But the 7th intern, Alex, was something else entirely.
He was the creepy
one?
one?
When I first met Alex, he seemed normal enough. Maybe a little awkward, but we all were at the beginning. He was tall, thin, kind of pale, and had this mop of dark hair that always looked a little unwashed. He didn't really fit the finance intern stereotype. But that's not what threw me off.
What is it?
It was the way he acted around me.
You?
At first, it was subtle.
Are you a
He'd
female?
pop up at my cubicle during the day, lean over the divider in a way that made him look freakishly tall. Like 7 feet tall because the cubicle walls were low, and only his head would be visible above it. He'd tilt his head slightly, grin with a strange frozen smile, and start talking in this deliberately weird voice, like he was trying to sound creepy on purpose. I'd laugh it off awkwardly, pretending I thought it was funny, but I remember thinking it was an odd thing to do in a professional setting.
Yeah, you just get to avoid
He'd say
him.
random stuff, like working hard or hardly working, Ronnie.
Ronnie?
In a slow, unnatural tone, and then hold the smile for way too long. The first couple of times, I figured he was just being quirky or trying too hard to stand out.
Yeah.
Some people at internships are awkward like that, so I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But then it started happening more often. Every single day, at least once, I'd see his head slowly rise above my cubicle wall.
That's weird.
That same stretched grin plastered across his annoying face.
Oh.
Start some bizarre conversation that didn't make sense. Sometimes he'd make jokes that weren't funny, or mutter random phrases that didn't relate to anything.
Yeah, no, you have to tell
He
somebody.
used that same unsettling voice, like a soft voice in the kind of taunting...
Well, actually, you just get talk to him about it. Yeah, I suggested going to HR way too fast. But yeah, if you haven't told him, how is he supposed to know any better? Okay, everybody, we are back, and we are going to continue this right here, right now.
Funny, or mutter random phrases that didn't relate to anything. And every time, he used that same unsettling voice, like a soft voice in a kind of taunting way.
Yeah?
Honestly, a very good recent comparison of the voice he was doing was the voice Charlie Hunnam did for his role as Ed Gein.
I don't know
The
what
other
that
interns
is.
noticed it too, but they mostly laughed it off, thinking Alex was being weird on purpose to lighten the mood.
Yeah.
I also think they thought Alex and I had built some kind of rapport
No.
that the rest of them didn't build with him. There
Nobody,
was something about the way
nope.
he directed it only at me that made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah?
It's not like I treated him any differently. It was like I was his personal audience for whatever creepy act he was trying to pull.
You were right next to
As
each
the
other,
weeks went
too.
on, his visits got longer. He'd lean over and stay there for minutes at a time, staring at me while talking.
Yeah?
Sometimes not even saying much, just looking. I'd fake a laugh, say I had to finish a report, and hope he'd get the hint.
Damn.
He rarely did.
You need to tell
Then
him
one night,
about
about
this,
6
though.
weeks into the internship, I was home eating dinner when my
Oh,
phone
no.
rang.
It was him?
It was a number I didn't recognize.
Oh, no.
I normally don't answer unknown calls.
You did?
But since I was expecting a delivery confirmation, I picked it up. When I said hello, all I heard for a few seconds was silence. Then, suddenly, I heard a voice I recognized immediately.
Oh, no.
It was Alex's voice. The same forced, creepy tone he always used in the office. He said, "The tide's coming in. Pull your boat out of the water."
What?
But this time, his voice was a little louder, almost a yell. He dragged the words out like he was reciting a riddle, and then he burst out laughing this insanely unhinged laugh before hanging up. The thing that made my skin crawl wasn't just the call.
You have to tell your
It was the fact
employer.
that I never gave Alex my number, not once.
I can imagine
The next thing
that.
I did was text the number back, asking if this was Alex. But the text said not delivered.
Yeah.
And when I looked it up, it was a landline number.
Damn.
That's when I really started to get freaked out.
Yeah.
How did he get my number?
Yeah.
Why was he calling me like that?
To
I tried to
creep you
rationalize
out.
it. Maybe he found it through a company contact sheet or something.
And he told
But
you
even
to
then,
tell you that?
The way he said that line didn't sit with me.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop replaying the sound of his laugh in my head.
None
It
of
didn't
this is
sound like someone
normal.
joking around. It sounded like he was with me to the point of trying to actually scare me.
Yeah.
This wasn't just goofy behavior anymore.
Good.
Parents of children who
Do something about it. Also, I hate how I have ads.
used or pressured to share.
That Monday, when I got to the office, Alex wasn't there.
Oh.
His desk was empty, and I didn't
He
see him
asked?
all morning. I went to our supervisor, a guy named Martin, and I asked him if Alex might have gotten my number through the company. And Martin was very confused, saying interns didn't have access to employee info like that.
Damn.
On top of that, they'd let Alex go at the end of the previous week because he wasn't doing any work and had ignored multiple warnings.
Damn.
That's when I told him about the call. He seemed surprised, and some of the other interns overheard. A couple of them started nodding and saying they always thought Alex was creepy.
Yeah.
That he'd made them uncomfortable too. I told them about the weird cubicle visits, the voice, everything.
Yeah.
Martin said not to worry, that Alex was gone for good and had no reason to come back.
Yeah.
That was a little
No
comforting.
reason?
For the next week or so, I kept expecting something else to happen.
Nothing?
A message, a random encounter, something. But nothing came.
Shit.
Life at the office went back to normal.
That's good.
I figured maybe that was really the end of it.
It's not,
Until
is
one
it?
early morning. It was a Friday, around 5 a.m. Still dark
You didn't do
outside,
any
except
work?
for a thin gray light creeping in through the blinds. I woke up because I thought I'd heard something.
It's
Maybe a noise
Alex.
from outside. It made me get up and look out my window.
Oh, no.
I wish I hadn't. Standing in my backyard, halfway between the trees and the porch light, was a figure looking up at my window.
Oh! Oh,
Even
God.
though it was barely light out, I could tell who it was immediately. The thin frame and the messy hair, the way he stood perfectly straight.
Oh.
It was Alex. For a few seconds, I could not move. I just stared at him, trying to make sense of what I
He
was
looked
seeing.
back at you?
And then, clear as day, I heard him call out my name in that same creepy, performative voice he'd always used at work. He dragged it out, long and sing-songy. I grabbed my phone, about to call 911, when I saw him tilt his head back and start laughing.
Oh, no.
That same loud, hysterical laughter like he did on the phone before hanging up.
Nope, nope, nope.
It didn't sound right. It sounded like someone completely detached from reality. I shouted through the window, yelling at him that I was calling the police and to get the hell off my property.
What? Why?
I also waved my phone out the window.
Why?
He just stood there for a second longer, then turned and started walking away.
What? You then let him get away after this guy was asleep to you the entire time? Yeah, think about it. If you let him off now, what could stop him from coming back later? Yeah, think about it. You let him off with a warning this time. You don't tell the police, and then he comes back. And then what? You actually told the police? Then what? He just gonna walk away again? Yeah, he gonna run away? No. All you're doing is giving him an opportunity to do it later, and to possibly get away. No. The first thing I would do, call 911, and then start talking to him. Ask him, hey, Alex, why are you at my window? Do you need something? I would try to lean into it. I would ask him questions, try to sound normal, or not freaked out. And I would let the call go on in the background. So, maybe when the 911 operator hears it, they'll be like, oh, somebody's outside this person's house, and they clearly don't want them to be there. And then, the police will come. And then, maybe you'll have stalled Alex long enough that, either they're able to catch him, or they're at least able to chase after him because he didn't get far enough away. No. I get you want him out of your face for as soon as possible, but you're just giving him time.
Still laughing as he disappeared into the trees behind my house.
Yeah.
I called the police, and in short, the dispatcher asked me if he was still there.
No.
When I said no, she told me to call back if he came back or threatened to break in.
Yeah.
I never saw him again after that.
Good.
Not at work,
You're
not
yucky.
around town, nowhere. The police couldn't do much since he hadn't technically broken in or made a direct threat.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations where you just have to live with the unease, hoping it's over. The rest
Was
of the
it
summer
over?
passed without incident. I finished the internship, and on the last day, my boss pulled me aside to offer me a permanent position for after graduation.
Okay.
At the time, I accepted.
Nice.
Though a small part of me felt unsettled about ever going back to that office again.
Dang.
I never told them about what had happened that morning. I didn't see the point.
I mean, I
Alex was
see the
gone,
point.
and no one even knew where he'd ended up.
Damn.
Over time, I convinced myself that he must have been dealing with some kind of mental illness
Yeah.
or social disorder. Something that made him act that way. It's the only way I can make sense of how he went from a quiet, awkward intern to standing in my backyard at 5 a.m, laughing like a lunatic.
It is a good
It's been a few years
explanation.
now, and I've moved on from it. I
Nice.
didn't end up with that company. I
Ah.
got a different job after graduation.
Good.
I don't think about this too often anymore, but sometimes the thought of that image of him in my backyard still skeeves me out.
Ugh.
I still wonder how he got my number, how he found my address,
Yeah.
and what he wanted that morning. I guess it's not that hard to get people's info online these days.
Yeah. Do you
All I
have a
know is that for a
Facebook?
few months in my life,
A Twitter?
I worked alongside someone who wasn't just strange. He had something way deeper going on. And no matter how many years pass, I'll never forget the sound of him laughing in the dark, as if it was all one big joke that only he understood.
Okay, that was decently scary. But let's move on to story number 2 by Sarah.
Adobe Acrobat Studio is on.
So yeah, that one was decent, I mean, not much the main character could have done differently. I mean, except towards the end. I would definitely have reported him sooner. Sooner because of how sleepy he was. But you did fine.
I was 17 when this all happened.
Damn.
It was my first real job,
What was it?
working at a local grocery store in our quiet Vermont town.
Like, not a
The kind of town
possibility
where
for me.
everyone knew everyone else, and where where nothing ever really happened.
Something about to happen.
I liked the job at first. It was simple, and most of my coworkers were friendly. I quickly fell into a rhythm with the cashiers and some of the stock workers,
What was
especially during the slow hours when there weren't many customers. When that happened, we'd all gather near the front of the store, just chatting about random stuff, like what we watched on TV, making fun of the older, quirkier employees, and complaining about customers. That sort of thing. It was one of the few times during my shifts where I felt like I wasn't just standing behind a register staring at a screen or a blank wall all day. Depending on who was the shift supervisor for the day, it would either be relaxed or more strict. Like if a younger supervisor was working, it would be more chill.
Older.
People would be on their phones and people would socialize by the front. There was one coworker who I didn't know well at first. A guy named Sean. He was 24, a little awkward, the kind of guy who always seemed like he didn't quite know how to read social cues. He had longer hair, but kind of in the awkward in-between phase, like he was growing it out, but didn't quite reach his shoulders yet. He worked in the dairy section, so we didn't interact much at work. He was quiet and polite enough, and I honestly didn't think much of him. Most people just nodded at him when they walked past, and he did the same. But eventually, I was added to a coworker group chat, and he was in it. I didn't think twice about it. It was just a chat for work stuff and dumb jokes, and it seems most of the younger employees were in there. But then Sean started messaging me directly. At first, it was harmless. He asked about my shifts, whether I was covering certain days, things like that.
I mean, yeah,
but over the next few weeks, it became clear he was trying to get closer. He started asking questions about my personal life, like what music I liked, what I do after work, even little things like what I did over the weekend. Again, I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, people make small talk, right?
Yeah.
But the tone was off.
What?
Sometimes he'd call me cute in ways that made me uncomfortable. Sometimes he'd make jokes that were slightly flirty. I tried to ignore it, thinking maybe he just didn't know how to behave with girls my age. That's another
17.
thing. I was only 17. He was decently older than me. And I don't think anyone else knew he was flirting with me like that.
How old was he?
It didn't take long before the behavior became slightly annoying. He'd comment on things I posted online, and sometimes the messages were late at night. Not threatening. Not really. But there was this persistence in him that made me uneasy. I didn't know how to tell him to back off without making it awkward at work. So I mostly ignored him. Don't shit where you eat, I always hear people say.
Don't shit where you eat.
One day, I was at home watching Stranger Things, my favorite show still to this day.
Haven't
I've been
seen
catching
it.
up on the latest season, binge watching episodes in my bedroom, just completely lost in the show. And then a couple days later at work, everyone was gathered at the front of the store chatting about TV shows. I was talking with a few of the cashiers about some random series, when Sean suddenly asked me, "You like Stranger Things, right?"
How did he know that?
I couldn't remember telling anyone at work about my show. I just nodded, trying to brush it off. But it left this cold feeling in my stomach.
I would have asked how he knows
that. How did he know? I didn't say anything. I did make eye contact for a moment.
Yeah, I would just be like, yeah, how do you know that? And you know, whatever reason he gives me, I'll try to remember it.
He just smiled awkwardly and eventually left the front of the store back to the dairy section like nothing had happened.
Nope, something happened,
but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching me more than I had realized. It wasn't until a few nights later that the fear really started.
Why?
I was lying in bed, trying to fall asleep after a long day at work. The house was quiet, and then I heard a soft scraping noise against my bedroom window.
Oh, no.
At first, I thought it was the wind or maybe a branch brushing against the glass. But then I heard it again. A distinct sound of someone tapping on the window, just lightly enough for it to be unnerving. I got up and peeked through the blinds, half expecting to see Sean out there.
No one?
But there was nothing. I tried to convince myself the sound was nothing to be alarmed about, but the thought of Sean's question at work, about Stranger Things, a show I hadn't told anyone about, it kept running through my head. A couple of days later, he texted me again. This time, I didn't ignore it. I told him clearly and firmly that I wasn't interested.
Damn.
That was when things escalated. Almost immediately, he replied, "Okay, good luck changing your address."
What?
I couldn't believe it.
No, you take a
In
picture
one
of
insane
that.
text that he clearly sent before thinking of the repercussions, he proved my suspicions right.
Take
I
a
saved the
picture.
messages and took
Good.
screenshots.
Good.
I went straight to my manager and explained
Yes.
everything. My manager was shocked. He told
No. I'm going to the police first. Because that is just a threat, right? That is totally a threat. Combined with what actually happened to you the other night, combined with what happened to you that one night, and the text message, and every other message he sent you, I don't know if that's enough to make a case out of, but I don't know. I would go to the police immediately. And then maybe I tell the manager. Well, he told me not to worry. No, I don't care about you anymore, manager. I'm going to the police. This is creepy, and I don't feel safe.
me not to worry, that they'd handle it.
How?
I also went with my dad to the local police department
Thank you.
file a report.
Good job.
Showing them the messages and explaining the incident with the window.
Yeah.
Explaining that I suspected Sean might be stalking me. The next day at work, Sean was called in by our boss.
Okay.
He didn't come back. It turned
Good
out
job.
he was fired on the spot,
Haha.
and the police started the paperwork for a restraining order.
Yay.
I thought maybe that would be the end of it, but
Why?
I quickly realized that nothing really felt over. Even with the restraining order in place, if he was actually a crazy person, what's a piece of paper gonna do to stop him from coming back to the house and doing something crazy? I double-checked locks obsessively, refused to answer any calls.
I mean, I think the point of a restraining order is the fact of repercussions. He may be able to do something to you, but when he gets caught doing it and violating the restraining order, the police are gonna, I think they'll come down harder on him because of the restraining order. You were warned, your warnings are over, and you're going to jail now. Does it actually help if he's really crazy? I don't think so, but what are they supposed to do? Arrest him? Well, yeah, I guess they could actually arrest him. But it doesn't feel I guess to the police that dude, what he's done isn't a big enough crime to warrant jail time. I guess. And he didn't actually hurt you, so I don't know.
Calls or messages from unknown numbers, and avoided talking about my routines with anyone except family.
Okay.
The weeks dragged on like that. I would wake up at night convinced I heard something outside.
Oh no.
I had to remind myself constantly that the restraining order was legally binding, and that he couldn't come near me. But the fear was real.
Legally, he can.
Eventually, as the weeks turned into months, the paranoia started to fade.
Good.
There were no incidents, no attempts to contact me, no sudden appearances.
Until
the restraining order seemed to hold.
Good.
And life slowly returned to normal. I got more comfortable going out alone, stopped checking my window obsessively before bed, and eventually, I stopped thinking about Sean altogether. It took a long time, though, for me to feel fully safe again.
Is that
Even
it?
after moving on, the experience left a mark.
Wow.
I was hyper aware of my surroundings, cautious about new people I met, especially in situations where I felt isolated. I learned to trust my instincts and take any uncomfortable behavior seriously, no matter how small it seemed at first. Looking back, the thing that scares me most isn't that Sean might have actually harmed me. It's how quickly someone who seems normal, even awkward or harmless, can turn into a source of fear.
Yeah.
It can start with small, seemingly innocent interactions, messages, questions, little comments, and escalate into something far more serious. Now, years later, I've moved past it.
Okay.
I work in a different town, live in a new apartment, and I don't think about that grocery store anymore.
Good.
I don't talk to a single coworker from that job anymore.
Okay.
But the memory of those nights lying in bed, convinced someone was outside my window, it's not something that ever goes away entirely. It's a reminder of how quickly life can feel unsafe, even in a small, quiet town where nothing ever seems to happen. And while Sean never came close to doing anything physically, the psychological impact was enough to make me question how safe I ever truly was. So if you're ever at work and notice a coworker crossing a line, even subtly,
Report
take
it.
it seriously. Don't brush it off as awkwardness or harmless flirting. It might seem over the top at first, but it could save you from months of fear, or worse. Because sometimes, the danger isn't obvious. But eventually, I did move on.
Okay.
And now, years later,
Yay.
I can look back and say I survived.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Okay, I was really worried he would then come back near the end.
Are you a holiday person?
And I would then bring up a comment on how, these people always seem to come back at the worst times when the person is just starting to move on. And you have to wonder, is that intentional? Okay, but story number 3 is by KP. KP. Tennis?
When I was 26, I started working at a small insurance office in a quiet part of Pennsylvania.
That is
The
not
kind
a
of
job I'm
office that's
gonna
tucked behind a
have.
strip mall with one long row of desks, flickering fluorescent lights, and the smell of coffee at all hours of the day.
The
It
American
wasn't
dream.
glamorous, but it paid the bills, and I liked most of the people there.
Except,
The job could get boring, especially on slow days when the phones barely rang, but it was easy money.
insurance.
I usually worked the day shift, but on this particular Friday, I was scheduled to help close up the office because we were behind on filing a batch of client records.
Okay.
There was a big storm warning that afternoon, the kind that
Shit.
takes over the entire local news broadcast. The moment I woke up and looked out the window that
It
morning,
raining.
I knew it was going to be a dark, stormy day. And around 3 o'clock, the rain started to pour so heavily you couldn't see the end of the street.
Damn.
The thunder came soon after, shaking the windows every few minutes. Honestly, I was personally enjoying the ambiance of the storm.
Until you have to
Then
go
the
home.
manager decided to let most of the employees leave early before it got worse, but a couple of us volunteered to stay to finish some paperwork.
You included.
The only other person who stayed was a guy named Tom, who had just started working there about 2 weeks prior.
Okay.
He was in his early 30s, tall, quiet, and sort of off-putting in a way I couldn't describe. I wouldn't say creepy, just strange.
What would you say?
He never said much to anyone, but he was always nearby. If I went to make coffee, he'd be
He
there 2
followed
minutes
you.
later. If I was restocking paper, he'd show up pretending to do the same thing. I
Pretending.
figured he was just socially awkward. When 5 o'clock
Oh,
hit,
you don't
the storm
ignore
was in
it.
full force.
Didn't you hear the
I
earlier
swear, every
story?
few seconds, lightning flashed, followed by thunder that made the floor vibrate. The office felt emptier than usual, and the usual hum of lights was replaced by the sound of the storm. Tom was sitting at his desk a few rows down, typing something on his computer that looked like nonsense from where I sat.
Okay, yeah.
Every
No,
time I
this,
looked up, I could see him glancing over in my direction.
this guy isn't really
At first, I
working.
tried to focus on my work, but after an hour or so, I realized I hadn't seen him get up once. Around 6:30,
Okay.
the power started flickering.
Oh
Both of
no.
us made the same nervous laugh when the lights dimmed. But
Really?
he didn't say anything. The next flicker lasted longer, and when the power finally
no.
went out completely, the office went silent
No,
except for
no.
the rain. The emergency
I'm gonna
lights
turn on
kicked
my
in,
light-
leaving everything bathed
my
in a faint
phone.
orange glow. I said something about maybe it being a good time to head out, but
Yeah.
Tom didn't respond.
Oh no.
I heard the sound of keys jingling,
Was it
and then the front
him?
door locking. He muttered something about how it wasn't safe to go outside right now.
Oh.
I thought maybe he was just trying to be helpful, but something
By
about the way
locking
he
the
said
door?
it gave me chills. I went to grab my bag and jacket, figuring I'd wait it out for a few minutes before heading home.
No.
The power outage made the whole building feel smaller.
Oh,
The emergency lights barely lit the hallways, and the storm outside was deafening.
Oh.
When I came back toward the front, Tom was standing near the door, just staring out into the dark parking lot. The rain
Okay.
was falling so heavily you couldn't see anything past the glass. I told him I was going to make a quick call to my boyfriend to let him know I'd be home soon.
Oh, you
He
said
didn't
the
say
B
anything
word.
again. He stood there staring out the window. I walked toward the break room, but when I tried using my phone, there was no signal.
Ah.
I
Shit.
figured the storm must have knocked out the tower.
Well,
I tried the landline, but the line was dead too. I turned around to go back to the main office and nearly jumped when I saw Tom standing in the doorway. I hadn't even heard him walk up.
okay.
He was holding a small flashlight under his chin,
Good
casting
job.
shadows up his face. He had this half smile
Oh,
like he
no.
thought it was funny.
No, that's
I forced a
creepy.
nervous laugh and told him he scared me.
That
I then asked
creepy,
him again
man.
about unlocking the door so I could leave.
Yeah.
But he said something about it not being safe yet, and how it was better to wait until the worst of the storm passed.
Maybe, but I
said
want to go
fine,
home.
but inside I was starting to feel nervous.
No, I don't
He
trust
kept
him.
watching me. I decided to move to my cubicle to pack up my stuff, pretending to be calm. I wanted to wait for a lull in the storm and then get out.
She's not
When
gonna
I
do
looked up
that.
again a few minutes later, Tom was gone. I figured maybe he went to the restroom. I took the chance to head to the back door instead of the front one. I knew
Was
that
it
one led to a
open?
small parking lot behind the building where my car was.
Okay.
When I reached it, I realized the handle wouldn't move. The door was chained shut from the inside, like someone had looped a chain and padlock around it.
Damn.
We had never done that before. I turned
It
around
went
and
tall.
saw the faint glow of the flashlight coming from down the hallway. I ducked into the supply closet next to the break room and
Good,
closed the door
good.
quietly, trying to keep my breathing under control. I could hear Tom walking slowly through the hall, and then I heard him call my name. He sounded like he was trying to sound comforting. He said he just wanted to make sure I was safe.
No.
I didn't move or say a
I don't
word.
feel safe with you.
My heart was pounding so hard I thought he could probably hear it. He walked past the closet, and for a
Good.
few seconds, I could see the thin strip of light from the flashlight shining under the door. Then it disappeared. A loud crack of thunder made the building shake. The sound of rain got even louder for a second, and I realized part of the roof above the break room must have been leaking.
What?
I waited, I'd estimate 10 minutes before I finally worked up the nerve to open the door a little. The hall was empty.
Good.
The flashlight beam was gone. I stepped out carefully and made my way toward the front again.
It's y'all,
When I turned the corner, I froze.
Tom.
The front glass door had been shattered completely.
Shit.
Rain was blowing inside across the floor, soaking
Aw.
the carpet.
Hurry.
Tom was nowhere in sight.
Hurry.
I hesitated, wondering if he had gone outside.
Maybe.
Then I realized this was my only chance.
Yeah. Run.
I ran out the door
He's
into
a
the pouring
villain
rain
now.
and sprinted for my car. I didn't even care that I was getting drenched.
Yeah.
My
I
hands were
wouldn't
shaking so
either.
badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. I sped out of the parking lot without looking back once.
Yeah.
When I finally got home, I locked every door and sat in my living room shaking, watching the rain pour against my windows. I didn't
Oh,
sleep
God.
that night. The next morning, I called the office
Yeah.
and told my manager what had happened.
About Tom.
He didn't believe me at first,
What?
until he got there himself and saw the broken glass.
Yeah. Yeah,
He called the
asshole.
police,
Good.
showed up and took a statement from me when I was at the office.
Yeah.
They said they'd look into it, but it sounded like Tom had just taken off.
Wait, what? You
His car
ran?
was still in the lot, unlocked, with the keys sitting on the driver's seat.
Shit.
His phone, wallet, and a few personal items were still inside. The security cameras had been turned off manually before the power
Oh,
outage,
no.
which meant he must have done it earlier in the night.
Yeah.
Nobody ever saw him again. A few of my coworkers said maybe he had some kind of breakdown, but I couldn't stop wondering if he'd been planning something worse.
Yeah.
I quit the job a month later.
I
Even
would
though
have
nothing
to
ever
too.
happened after that. I couldn't work in a small, enclosed place like that where I had experienced such a traumatic incident. It just wasn't healthy.
Good. Okay, so these were all very good. And these were three pretty good, like, main characters. Like, all of these people, very well written. Why am I acting like they're not real people? I just like very, what is the word, like, common sense, I guess? Rational? Like, they're very rational people, and like, none of them feel like they made really dumb choices, is what I'm trying to say. Like, they all felt like pretty much what I would do to some extent. You know, I did say when it felt off a bit, but also, like, none of these people really, like, did anything to cause what happened to them. Like, in the hiking video, I said how those people made a bad decision by, like, going off the pathway or something. These people were just working their 9 to 5s and, like, met horrible people in them. So, yeah, no, these were 3 very good stories. I have to say, the best one was probably, like, the second or third one. But okay, everybody, That's all I have to say. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!